All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Well, I got a burr under my saddle.
We talk, you listen.
Somebody that's going to take an innocent life is not mentally insane?
You know them.
Time to nut up or shut up.
You love to hate them.
It's the Denton and Sasquatch Show.
Can I bring my AR-15 next time?
Sure.
Yes.
This place is half talk show, half weird daycare. I love it.
You can't handle the truth.
Hello and welcome once again to the Denton and Sasquatch Show, coming to you from California and Alabama. My name is Sasquatch. I'm the big hairy dude in California. Then we got Denton. He's over there in Alabama. Hello, my friend.
Hello there. I just couldn't wait to get the show started. This is going to be an hour and a half of us talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Fredo Cuomo. You're going to enjoy it.
Well, everybody's reaching for that off button right about now.
Yes. Since when do we talk about that kind of stuff that everybody else is talking about?
Oh, no. We've got some stuff that nobody's probably talking about.
So it'll be fresh, if nothing else. It may put you to sleep, but it's going to be fresh. It's kind of like that noisemaker you have in your bedroom.
Oh,
I'm not talking about your wife or husband.
The white noise?
Yes.
That these days is my fan.
Yeah, well, they work fine. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
But your noisemakers without the air flowing around.
Yes, the
Anyway.
sound of the ocean.
Yes. Or the raindrops. You ever listen to the one where it's like a jungle rain?
Yes.
That I have to get up every 10 minutes to go to the bathroom?
Yeah. Maybe if we do the whole show like this, we can put everyone to sleep.
Oh, NPR.
Yes, exactly.
We did that one time.
Oh, yeah.
I think we had 2 viewings.
Wouldn't surprise me.
All right, lead off, my friend.
Well, I do a section every once in a while called California News, and although this is in California, I don't know if it really fits in there, so we're just going to call this San Francisco News.
Okay.
There's 2 stories here from San Francisco that I want to talk about. I guess I'll tell you the whole point of why I think we need to talk about this, because these progressives are insane. And I think the only strategy is just to ridicule them all the time for this dumb shit they come up with.
Well, we do that.
But, I mean, we need to as a society as a whole. Like, everybody needs to start ridiculing them because it's just so mind-numbingly stupid.
Well, if everybody did that, then we would have no show because everybody would be doing it out on the street.
You know what? I would.
But I'm down with you.
I would gladly give up this show if everybody would just ridicule them all the time.
Okay, well, my friends are with you.
All right. Well, first off comes this little sign that was in a restaurant and this isn't posted like for the patrons. It's posted for the people in the back. I don't know what kind of restaurant it is, but normal restaurant where they serve food. Anyway, it's a sign that says, "When greeting others, avoid words like ladies, gentlemen, ma'am, sir, girls, guys, etc. Consider using instead, thanks, friends, have a great night. Good morning, folks. Hi, everyone." And I guess this is for like a waiter, and for you. If they're taking your order, one guy wants the steak, and then you turn to him and say, "And for you," rather than "ma'am," or "what would you like," or something like that. Then the last one's awesome because it's, "Can I get you all something?" So now,
Get you all something.
yeah, well, because you're including everybody rather than singling out one sex or one whatever. But this is funny to me. Can I get you all something? Because now they are culturally appropriating you Southern people who would say, "Can I get y'all something?"
I was just thinking, when you said that, I was thinking Hillary Clinton trying to campaign down south.
Yeah.
Yeah, she pulls that little ball of hot sauce from her purse and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't say you all.
No,
we say y'all.
Yeah, y'all.
Now, if it's a bunch of people, let's say like there's 4 groups of y'all, then we'll say all y'all.
All y'all. Yeah, that's right. Couple 3.
Right.
And then it says, why are we doing this? Well, shifting to gender-inclusive language respects and acknowledges the gender identities of all people and removes assumption. Be mindful of your language.
Now, these people who made that sign must have gone to that Democrat Socialist convention.
Well, and that's just it. This isn't so much progressive as it is communism, because they're changing words. And, that's right out of the Sal Alinsky handbook.
I need to take a trip to San Francisco.
Well, make sure you wear some steel-toe boots so you don't get drug needles in your toes.
Well, I have these Sawdex steel-toed shoes that have protective soles where you can step on nails and it won't go through.
Oh, well, make sure you pack them.
Yeah, I will. That way when I go to a restaurant, I say, hey, boy, come here.
Yeah. Okay, so this new one has to do with law and order in San Francisco, which there appears to be none of. Starts out, how would you like to be introduced as liar prior to your name? That's what we do every day when we talk about people as felons, convicts, juveniles. Using all those words means something, says Jeffrey Morris. Jeffria, I guess it's a woman. Morris, who works as a planner at the city's adult probation department, reentry division. It's easy to say offender, but it's much easier on the self-esteem to say, for people to say previously incarcerated person or person who has committed a crime.
I call them convicts.
Well, it goes on to talk about that as well. On Tuesday, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors voted to approve a fairly unusual resolution, which all these cities, they love their resolutions, my God, which actually mean nothing. But anyway, I digress. A fairly unusual resolution which requests that city government be more intentional with language choices when writing legislation, press releases, or briefs that discuss people who have spent time in the criminal justice system. Terms like addict, criminal, felon, prisoner, or juvenile delinquents tend to leave little room for humanization. Instead, it labels people as others, implying they are worthless. Person First, now this is the think tank sort of progressive company that they get all this crap from, seeks to reverse that, and the trend is catching on, so they say. Students of public health are taught to lead with a noun saying a child with autism spectrum disorder, for example, instead of an autistic child. I don't even know what to say to that. In San Francisco, you'll commonly hear advocates referring to unhoused people, people experiencing homelessness, or people with substance abuse issues. Despite this progress, there has never been a commitment from a city hall to employ person first language until now. So, homeless people are unhoused people.
Okay. I hear that home is where the heart is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why do they have to be in a house? I mean, a lot of people down here live in mobile homes, trailers, some single wides.
Well,
okay, so are they people without houses?
I guess you would be an untrailered people.
Okay, what if you're living in a cardboard box in San Francisco, and you call it your home? Okay, true, you're without a house, but you're not homeless.
Well, you just poked a hole right in their thought process.
I think they're very narrow-minded and judgmental.
I would agree. It goes on to say, the Board of Supervisors of the City Council of San Francisco urges all agencies and departments, both executive and judiciary, to adopt people-first language with respect to people with criminal records in all of its official written, voice, audiovisual, and signed communication, the resolution reads, and urges adoptions and utilization of people-first language in all legislation, co-sponsorship memos, reports, policies, and other documents. We think that insisting on being called people, we reaffirm our right to be recognized as human beings, not animals, inmates, prisoners, or offenders. We also firmly believe that we cannot persuade you, if we cannot persuade you to refer to us and to think of us as people, then all of our effort at the reform and change are seriously compromised. This is written badly. The message is catching on, they say. The San Francisco Probation Department calls...
Do you know that I had another article I wanted to go over, but when I read it, they transcribed what the morons were saying. It's on Joy AM, Joy Behar.
Yeah.
And the moron who was on the show was speaking so poorly, and they transcribed it that way. I said, there's no way. I can't do it.
Yeah, I know.
So I feel your pain.
But no, this is, okay, they would call somebody a probationer, I guess, if you're on probation. Well, instead, they're suggesting you call them folks or clients.
How about some idiot that's about to go to jail any day now because he's going to break the law?
Yeah. Some of this change...
Okay, so you start out with some idiot, and that kind of describes him, right?
Yeah, pretty much. They go on to say some of this change is going to be slow, but he's looking at ways to weave training about the language use into already existing programs like the implicit bias workshops police officers are required to complete. Oh, my God. If I were a cop in San Francisco, I would just jump off the bridge.
Well, this is really saying double plus negative.
Training about the language use into already existing programs like the implicit bias workshop. I would never sit in an implicit bias workshop.
Implicit bias workshop. Implicit bias.
Now,
never mind.
This is one of the most important lines of the whole thing, I think. This person they were interviewing goes on to say, and where San Francisco leads, others follow. I'm hoping we can use this to create momentum across the state and nation.
Oh, I'm sure here in Alabama we're going to pick right up on that mess.
Well, that's what we used to say here in California, but now it's commonplace. So I'm just telling everybody, giving you a little warning that this stuff, when it comes, you got to squash it immediately, because if you give them even a little inch, it'll just grow and fester like a cancer.
Well, I'm sure it'll pick up in Montgomery and Birmingham, but the rest of the state, we laugh at them. So, but you mentioned a convict. One of our listeners, and a friend of mine, Steve. Hey, how you doing, Steve? I know you listen to this. He retired from the correctional department in Florida, and he told me what boss means.
Oh, did he? What does it mean?
Yeah, and I worked in corrections here in Alabama for a year. This, hey, boss, what's up, boss? The convicts would. I mean, the people that aren't homeless but living together, I should say. Spelled backwards, boss is SSOB.
I get the SOB part. What's the extra S for?
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, son of a... yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so thanks, Steve. Cleared it up for us.
Well, so then...
Now I wish I could go back to the early 90s and beat the hell out of some people that were living together, not homeless.
Well, so when the guy at the convenience store with the man bun says, here you go, boss, I can just reach over and punch him in the face?
No, then you're not being all-inclusive.
Okay, so I punch him and somebody else, then we're inclusive?
As long as it's a white guy that you punch.
Well, he's got a man bun, so chances are he's white. No, I guess there's other people who wear man buns. I don't know. Yeah. So confusing.
But are they men?
Maybe.
Maybe. That's why you gotta say, hey, friend.
Yeah.
And then...
Or folks. Come here, friend. Let me hit you.
The world's confusing.
I can't imagine if an alien race came down here and just saw this and went, what is wrong with you people?
Oh, they'd immediately terraform. They would. They wouldn't care. They kill every man, woman, child. They'd make the world where they can inhabit it because they realize we're wasting it.
Yeah. We are not going to kill you men and women. We're going to kill you people.
Yeah, exactly. You former inhabitants of Earth. Former.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Well, look here. Those are some insane, crazy things you got going on in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, look here. New York is not going to be topped.
Of course not.
This is from the New York Times. Actually, this is from Breitbart that's reporting on the New York Times. And yes, everything I've got here, except for one, is from the New York Times. Now, while most Americans are spending time this summer enjoying the sun and the comfort of their houses, I sound like a stuttering moron. The New York Times is out with a new expose on how lawn care is problematic once viewed through the lens of social justice. Thankfully, somebody's getting to the grassroots of this problem. See what I did there?
All right.
Okay, here it is. This is what the New York Times says. You ready?
Oh, I couldn't be more ready.
Lawns are contributing to pollution and climate change. That's sort of narrator David Bawdy. And their origins are far from woke. In a 7-minute video on the history of American lawns, not laws, but lawns, Bawdy says lawns are part of the colonization of America, which transformed the landscape from pristine wilderness to identical rows of manicured nature. These lawns on the backs of slaves. He continues, zooming in on a painting of George Washington in a field of highlight men cutting the grass with scythes. It's grueling, endless work. By the 1870s, we also see American culture slowly start to embrace lawns for the privileged masses. The video explains that the perfect lawn is associated with being a model citizen, how the first sprinkler was invented in 1871, and how the advent of so-called trade cards that advertise the hell out of lawn and garden products. The Times also refers to the work of historian Ted Steinberg, who called lawns the outdoor expression of 50s conformism, that is 1950s, conformism. To drive home the point, he inserts vintage footage of 2 women being interviewed in their yards talking about how they moved to the communities to live exclusively near other white people. Neither of them say anything about desiring, having, or maintaining a lawn. Okay, let's take apart this, shall we?
Well, straight off the bat, I somewhat agree with that because, especially here in California, we have so much tract housing, and it's just cookie-cutter houses. They all look, there's like 3 different houses, and then they start over again with the same 3 different houses, and the lawns all look the same. Everything looks the same. Now, I don't think it's racist. I think a lot of people just like living in that. I personally don't, but, yeah, I'm not with the whole conformity thing about... Well, even with the HOAs where, well, you can only paint your house this certain color or whatever. But I don't see the whole racist thing they got going on, or the global warming, whatever climate change angle they're going for.
Well, first off, okay, we're going back to George Washington and people cutting grass with scythes. You know, that's probably not a manicured lawn. Okay, it's probably hay for the horses or whatever, but that's a little bit insane to, for that kind of stretch. Now, look here. I remember when I was a kid. I don't know about you guys in California. I mean, y'all are way ahead of us when it comes to manicured lawns, that kind of stuff, but you didn't want grass. Okay, you wanted, and I remember the grass being plucked out, and you would rake the sand with rakes. Okay, and you had the little rake tine things, just like little rows and everything. It was white sand, and it looked nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, you live in communities, suburbs, whatever you call it. You live in town. Yeah, they're going to be built by the same contractor, like in my neighborhood here, and the houses are all pretty much the same. Okay, now, kind of be bad to have sand there, so you plant grass. You have a lawn. I'm with you. Living in a neighborhood is not the best thing. All right, but there's no racism. Let's see now. 2 houses down and one across the street. This little black lady, she's in her age, just had open heart surgery about a month and a half ago. She can't take care of her lawn, but she hires white guys.
Well, it needs to be white guys to make up for the repression that she suffered and all people have suffered.
Right, and she shouldn't have to pay them either. They should just go down there and do it.
Yeah, that's
okay. But she has a very nice lawn. Mm-hmm. That's the way she wants it. Does that make her racist? I wonder. I mean, come on, what the world are we talking about here?
Well, and I suppose when they're talking about all these tract homes or whatever from the 50s that, with a nice manicured lawn, that if you have a black family that moved into one of those houses, well, that family's probably an Uncle Tom.
Probably so. She's an Oreo. I need to go down there and knock on her door.
Yes, take your microphone. I want to hear her throwing things at you.
I have a little portable recorder thing. It's got a speaker or Yeah, it's for interviewing people. As a matter of fact, I should do that. Ma'am, do you realize you're an Oreo?
And you're a racist?
Yeah, she wouldn't have a clue. A what? An Oreo. You know, you're black on the outside, but you're white on the inside. How dare you have a lawn? You know, she'd have no clue, bless her little heart. Sweet as can be, would not have a clue what we're talking about here.
Probably not.
She'd think, oh, this is crazy. But lawns are a symbol of man's control of or superior over his environment. Really?
Well,
if you don't,
yeah.
really, if that be the case, grass is natural. I mean, if I was really showing my superiority, I'd rip all this grass out and I'd replace it with steel. Okay? It'd be steel. It'd be polished steel. And I could have kind of like hockey matches on the weekend.
Yes, but you might want some ice for that.
Well, no, because we don't have ice down here. But you got your stick and your puck, and instead of using your skates, we use roller skates.
All right.
It'd be great. And that's another way I can make money.
Well,
anyway.
I agree with that. It is man's show of power over nature because that's what we do. That's how we thrive for millions of years. You make your situation and your living area better. I mean, that's it just is natural.
Yeah. Now, the way it's bad for the environment, it causes global warming. I don't have to read the rest of this. I can tell you. Because people use chemicals to make the grass greener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And chemicals come from chemical plants, and they have to make them using, fuel and that kind of stuff. Actually, the stuff you put on your lawn is not really fertilizer. It's not organic fertilizer. It's petroleum-based fertilizer, believe that or not. Mm-hmm. Does it make sense? Well, that's the way it is. And then how do you mow your grass? Do you use goats?
Yeah, some people do.
Most people don't. Most people use riding lawnmowers, which uses fuel and emits pollution.
Okay, but you know what? All right, up where I live is kind of in the hills a little bit, and everybody's got their manicured lawns and stuff like that. But there are areas of hillside that is nobody lives on them. It's just kind of hilly, and there's brush up there.
Yeah, we hear about them.
Yeah,
we hear about those. They catch fire all the time.
Yes, they catch fire. Which what would the smoke do? It would help with climate change, or not help, but cause it. But no, what they do is the local fire departments have been hiring these people that have goats, and they just let the goats go on the side, and they eat all the junk, and then it's cleared and it's safe for no fires. So
they're meddling with Mother Nature. That's right. That's something other. I don't know what it is.
Yes, they're dominating nature.
I'm kind of confused. I don't know what to think about that. But anyway, I think that the New York Times trumped San Francisco on this one.
Yeah, I think we have a clear winner here.
Yeah. Now, if anybody disagrees with me, go to dentonandsashshow@gmail.com. Or if you do agree with me, go to dentonandsashshow@gmail.com and tell us this. Or you can go to prepperforums.net, where we usually hang out spewing our political points of view that nobody cares about. And sometimes we talk about preparation for the end of the world and survivalism, that kind of crap. So, got the plug in. You didn't know I was going to get the plugs in, did you?
I just figured you'd do it at the end, but whatever, as long as we got it in.
Yeah, good job for me. Speaking of jobs, how you like that segue?
Mm-hmm.
Again, from Breitbart, roughly 150 locals attended an August 12 job fair to apply for jobs at the Koch Foods plants in Mississippi. The fair was run after the August 7th removal of 243 alleged illegal immigrants in the two of the company's chicken processing plants. Okay, I don't have to read any further on this. You know what we're going to talk about here, do you?
Well, I call BS on this whole story.
Oh, didn't see that coming.
No, see, I threw a loop for you. I call BS because it is impossible for them to have a job fair because every single one of the CEOs of that company should be in prison right now.
Damn. That was good.
I'm just saying.
Well, and you're correct in what you said. However, it seems at a job fair, the job starts at $12 an hour, which is decent pay for the area, and that's not a bad start. It can always go up, depending on if you're going to work as hard as an illegal alien, I'm sure. But they keep on telling us that they cross the border to do jobs that we won't do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this proves that's not true. I know some people that's worked in chicken plants. That is disgusting work. It almost makes me want to stop eating chicken. That's a lie. Okay, I'm from the South. Chicken is the staple. And besides, I wouldn't want to put these good Americans out of work. But apparently, if you get the illegals out of the way, Americans will take the jobs. It's like construction work. I've talked to construction workers that have made it very clear that, yes, they hire illegals because other construction companies hire illegals. So for them to continue to be competitive, they had to fire the Americans who were more than willing to work so they could get illegals to pay them a fraction of the pay without having to worry about taxes and insurance, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
well,
apparently we will work.
And the angle that the news and the progressives and the liberals never really want to talk about is, okay, you're letting these people into the country and they'll do this work for less money, but what they're really doing is condoning slave labor.
Exactly.
And
that's what illegals are.
Well, yeah. So them being friendly to the illegals means they condone slave labor. At least that's how I look at it.
And you're right. And I guarantee you, when people say Americans, we're conditioned by the mainstream media to think, whenever you think about Americans, you're supposed to think, well, you must be talking about white people in America. I guarantee if you were to go down there when they had the job fair, you'd find Hispanic Americans, Black Americans, very few, or Asian Americans probably. They're all in college and getting hype. Anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be diverse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a total nonsense what they spew, and they can't help it.
Well, and what's happening is there's a void somewhere, and it quickly gets filled. And if it doesn't get filled, that means that void or whatever that product was just ceases to exist.
Or they have to, or they have to pay the workers more, and then we, the consumers, decide if it ceases to exist.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the void gets filled one way or another, and if that means paying the people more or whatever you do, then that's what you do. But yeah, it's just a big lie saying that, Americans won't do this work, because, yeah, they will.
Yeah, we've worked before. I mean, most of us don't like it, and most of us, when we get older, we get ourselves in a niche where we're not having to break our backs or smell chicken guts anymore. But look, there's people that's got to start there.
Well, and my dad...
And the next
my dad was a pipe fitter. That's what he did for a living. And I remember when he was getting ready to retire, he would talk about this. And in fact, he retired a little bit early because of this, that he was getting less work because these contractors... they would outbid his companies and bring in a bunch of illegals and do it for cheaper. And so they would outbid my dad's company, who was full of... there were Hispanic guys and white guys and black guys, but they had to be paid more. So you bring in the illegals where you can do it for cheaper, and you get the bid. So, they sort of created this... It's not something that just happened in a vacuum. It was created.
Now, the government, Alabama, cracked down a few years ago. They really came down hard on the businesses that were using illegal aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Illegal aliens left Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we don't have to round them up and use catapults to throw them back on the other side of the wall that Donald Trump may build one day. You just make it where they can't get jobs here, and they'll have to go home or somewhere. So it seems like an easy thing.
It is, but when you have both Republicans